All right, so excited about the outcome today. Came out with two players that we really like. We're really going to help our front seven. Starting off with Rook, and talking about a big, powerful, athletic man, excellent skill set, versatile up front, play the run, plays the pass, excellent motor, top-notch makeup. And so we're very excited about him, the versatility he brings up front, the player he is. So and then we get into to Braylon Trice, outside linebacker, another versatile player, tough, instinctive. He can play the run, he can play the rush the passer, powerful, heavy-handed on the edge, and again, excellent motor, nonstop motor. Love the way he plays the game and the way he approaches the game. So, two players. We really like the skill sets, and we like what they're going to bring on and off the field. So, very excited about today's outcome.
Could you talk about the trade and the move to go up and get Rook?
Yeah, we're aggressive, and we've done that really it's our third year in a row doing that in the second round. We did it last year with Bergeron, did it the year before with AK. Excited about both those picks. And look, when the question you ask yourself is, you can ask yourself if they're going to be there or not. Obviously, you don't have a crystal ball. You can't see into the future. But if you want to be aggressive and you weigh out what you'd be giving up to go up, and we believed it was worth it because we wanted that player and we have a clear vision for what he's going to be for us. And then you look at our defensive line and where we are, and he's the perfect fit for us. So very excited about it.
Was Coach Lake able to give you all some recommendations on Trice?
Coach Lake was because I was just joking. I knew you were going to ask that question, so I guessed it upstairs. Okay. But Coach Lake was obviously with him, and but like Terry would tell you, I mean, it's still Terry's turn, but the boots on the ground scouts where it starts, and then it gets to us, and then obviously when he was there, you would ask Lake about the players that he had in the building and do some of those different things. So Joel's the scout for that area, and he brings it back, and we're able to get a little bit more information because of that. But Jacques Smith does a great job of evaluating the outside backers, the power, the strength that he played with this year. Usually you got to do with the last body of work, and that last body of work, Jimmy Lake was not there. But you get a chance to see it this year and how it was improved, and listen to your scouts, listen to your coaches, along with our own evaluations of our own. And we were fired up to get that player as well. But yes, D-Led, in a long answer of yes.
All right, thank you.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Was the plan for today to be a defensive-heavy draw?
We didn't know how it was gonna. We basically had the players stacked up how we saw them, and we had Rook at the top of that, and that's the guy we wanted. But if he goes and other guys go, we could have taken an offensive player because you don't want to reach in a certain spots. But he was the guy that we're really excited about getting. And then the same thing when we're on the clock for the next pick, we had some stacks. And again, if there's a run at that position and something else, we could have went another direction. So we didn't go in the day and say we have to take defensive players. You want to take good football players that fit our ethos, that fit what we're about, and that are going to come and help us play. And so those are those types of guys.
Terry, you mentioned being aggressive and trading up in the second round.
Yep.
How close were you guys getting last night into getting back into the latter part of the first round?
We're trying. We're really trying to do it. We had conversations really as soon as we picked at 8. We called every team from starting at 9 all the way down to 32. And we were very aggressive in doing it.
He was so aggressive, he made me miss dinner. I'm sitting there watching him and waiting for these trades that we're trying to make.
When we left here, there was no food.
There was no food left when we got in.
Food, and there's nothing.
Well, they gave you guys burgers. They gave us nothing.
They didn't take care of us.
We got nothing because Terry was trying to trade it back in the whole night.
Yeah, we're starving. But to answer your question, we were very aggressive. How close were we? We felt there were times that we were close, but you have to look. We made some pretty big offers, and when you're going through those trades, there's levels that you're going to offer this at this level for these picks, and you have to keep adjusting it right as you go down. So we got into some deeper conversations with some teams, and it obviously didn't work out, but we were aggressive.
Would it be for defense, for an edge possibly?
Again, as we were stacked, the first player we were going in for, yes. And there were a couple of them. There were a few of them, obviously. We saw they came off, so that's where it started, but there were some other ones too. There were some other players we were trying to get in for. We had it stacked up, and we had a group of guys we were trying really, really hard. Again, we called from 9 to 32, and we tried hard, and didn't work out. But we're still excited about where we are right now. We've gotten to this point, and we're excited about getting to work tomorrow.
For both of you, how did Michael's visit go today?
He wants me to go now. He's tired of talking.
It was outstanding.
But
I'll tell you,
go ahead.
It was great. It was outstanding. I know you guys got to talk to him. It was cool meeting his whole family, and you really see. And one thing you talk about with guys like him is it really starts with the makeup and who he is as a person, and then when you meet his family, his parents, his grandparents, when you meet that, then you see where it really comes from, you know. And thought he did a great job throughout the whole thing. We said it all along that makeup, that character, that's really important. We know what we have in terms of the character with Kirk, and now putting him in that room with Kirk and Taylor, that's really exciting.
Yeah, it was
Start talking to him today about this is the plan that we have for you. This is how we see it playing out. Or do you save that conversation for later in the process?
No, I did not start talking with that today. Today was for him to enjoy his family, for him, the guys, really to introduce himself to the city of Atlanta, for him to get here and be with you guys and really get in front of Mr. Blank as well. I thought that was very important, you know, those introductory things and all that type of things that they want to do. Obviously, he had talked to Kurt the night before, which I thought was a pretty cool outing by both of those guys that had the empathy and the humility to talk to each other about what was going to happen and how he talked about his support. And I thought his family being here was great, for him to meet Terry, for him to meet myself, and do some of those different things that he didn't do. Obviously, he didn't come here on a top 30 visit, so we were able to give him kind of a tour, showing what was going on with the building, all the new things that we got going on, all the support that we get from our owner as far as what the constructions are going on, things that's happened, this beautiful media room that we're sitting in, and some of those things. So I thought those things from an introductory standpoint was way more important than actually getting into our vision and some of the things right away. He's a guy that's got his head screwed on the right way, and we're very proud of him that way. So I can't wait to get him back in the building on a full-time basis when he comes back for rookie minicamp and be with us for the rest of the offseason, and we'll get a lot of those things done. You don't need to rush the process, no need to do those things, and get into it to the full dynamic on what you're going to be doing for us in the short term. But he's got a good picture and a good vision for himself right now.
How much of that plan can you plan, if that makes any sense? I mean, because you can't see the future. How can you lay out a structure for how we want it to go, or do you just have to let it happen?
You know, I think really he said it best today. You know, putting himself in position to act as if he has to play the next snap, because you never know. So I think he's already got that kind of mentality in his head, and really for all position groups, it's got to be that way, because you just never know, right? You don't know what situation is going to happen. Like you said, you can't plan, but what can you plan for? You can plan as if you're going to do whatever is required of you, and that's what I believe he's going to do, and that's what we're going to ask him to do.
He was in here earlier today, and he told us a little story about Raheem, you playing linebacker and some of the drills that he did when you guys were out there.
Sure.
What do you remember about that particularly?
You know, it was the whole workout in itself was generally a fun experience to watch him throw and to see his arm talent, and then for us to put a couple concepts in and watch him be able to layer the ball, to be able to throw it to the intermediates, to be able to throw the check downs, to be able to throw some of the deeper routes, and just being the linebacker for him, to give him a visual picture on what it looks like and who he had to throw it over and some of those things. I can just hear the ball going over the top of my head, and had great velocity at times, and sometimes he was able to lay it over top of me where I couldn't get to it. And he had his buddies out there, his guys that he says always ready to slide and poke. And it was great to watch those guys kind of work together and kind of communicate and have that natural banter that our receivers and quarterbacks have, along with his tight end that was out there with him. And you can just tell the support that he had from the people out there. You know, Jet Fish came out to see him in the workout. It was a big-time clinic going on that day, so we had a bunch of people walking through. You know, his tackle, I don't want to mess his name up, Troy, I'm going to say, came out also to watch. And we had a bunch of people out there ourselves. So it was a really good atmosphere. And to watch him throw the ball in that type of weather, because it was kind of a damp, rainy-ish type of day. It was pretty cold for us that day. For us, we were kind of cold. I didn't want to catch the ball. Sometimes I catch the ball for those guys. I was not doing it that day. But it was a good environment. It was nice to see him go out there and execute in any type of environment.
Did you guys leave there thinking, like, this kid is at 8? You want him?
No, it was just a part of the process. Yeah. You know, look, liked him throughout the entire process, but that was just another exposure that we really appreciated and thought he did a good job, but it was just a part of the process.
You mentioned that you wanted a succession plan, that was important, but if Michael had been gone at 7, would you still have felt like you wanted a quarterback at that spot, or was this a Penix-dependent situation?
No, we wouldn't reach. Yeah, to answer that question, we wouldn't. We definitely wouldn't reach. If we would have come out this draft and not drafted a quarterback, we'd have been fine with that. You never want to reach and force it, and that's really why, Josh, it was important to do it when you believe in a player, because we never want to be in a position where we're trying to force it, or you're desperate and you're so you don't want to force it in any spot, and that's why if you truly believe in a player, you don't pass them up, because they don't always come around, guys that you have that much conviction on, that much belief in, and being in position to actually take them. Because, again, we're not going to be in that position. And again, you don't know what's going to be in those drafts. This is a very unique draft in that way.
But there were other quarterbacks that were still available after him, but for y'all, it was him, or we're going to move on to a different path, a different branch of our path.
It would have been a different position.
Is that accurate? Okay.
Right.
If that player wasn't there, based on our boards and based on our conversations and our evaluations, the due diligence that we did before, I mean, I really appreciate going through the process with Terry, being our first time, but, some real long conversations, some thought out things, and you never know what's going to happen. You get all the mocks and things of that nature, but as we know, every single year those things change based on who likes who and who likes what, and what the mentality of it was. And our mentality was, if you got a chance to get a guy who we feel like can be part of that succession plan that we're talking about, we were going to go get him and try to attack that situation at a high level. And it was really a luxury for us because of the stuff that our owners had allowed us to do, right? Go out there and get us a quarterback and get us a guy in our short-term future that can go out there and lead us to getting wins that we're still very excited about. And, obviously you put a little damper on that mood last night, but, that's the nature of our beast. That's the nature of our business. It's the competitive stuff that happens with the all. But I'm fired up about my quarterbacks, all of them, and can't wait to get back to work.
You guys were sitting at 80 yesterday and probably fielding a lot of calls, as you mentioned the other day, Terry, about people trying to move up. How much of that intel do you use in deciding to take Penix? Because people are trying to come up to take quarterbacks, obviously. That ended up being the case.
You work hard to gather as much information as you can and knowing where you expect players to go. And so you have a lot of those conversations leading up to it, because we do weigh that out. If you would trade back, you want to know what's going to be there when you trade back. And then, again, we used a lot of that intel as we're deciding where we wanted to get and what we would give up to get in certain spots in the draft, just knowing what you expect to be at each spot. Again, you can't you don't have a crystal ball. You can't say exactly what it's going to be. You can't see into the future. But you work hard to gather as much information as you can, get as much intel as you can, and try to figure out where you expect the players to go.
Would it be accurate to say that you went in the draft last night with our first choice if things fall kind of as we sort of expect to have Michael available?
Saying,
our first.
Did we expect him to be there?
To go, if everything goes the way we expect, what we really want out of this is to have Michael.
Well, look, there's so many. When there's 7 variables in front of you, and we knew what we expected at the first few picks, but after that, you just really didn't know. So we had a lot of different conversations about a lot of different outcomes and how we were going to pivot in those outcomes, and we did. We weighed all the moving back. If you get a certain offer and you move back, this is who you expect to be there. So we really didn't know what was going to be there at 8. We had weighed out a lot of different things, several different outcomes, and we're ready for whatever what the outcome was going to be.
Did you anticipate that he'd be available?
Again, we worked on. There were so many different things that could have happened. So there could have been other players that we were staring at. There were just a lot of different outcomes that could have. A lot of different things could have happened, and we're prepared for everything.
And as far as the trade to move it to Root, I think it was 3 of the next 4 after him were defensive tackles. Did you have a sense of, I think that run's about to start?
Well, that's a really good question. But if you notice, if you see how the draft goes, that's how it usually happens. You see when the run kind of started on receivers and it hit, the run starts on corners and it hits, and that's usually how it happens. Once that run starts, they go. Look, we took Braylon, and there was a team after us that was about to take him, and then all of a sudden, a couple picks later, the Ellis goes, and then outside back. That's kind of how it. It's kind of how it goes usually. Those runs really start, and really you weigh all those things out. You work through the different scenarios, and when you're really convicted on a player, and you know the vision and the fit for us and all those things, that's why you go up and get them, because you just don't know when that run's going to start.
Terry, there's this clip of you talking to Mr. Blank. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've seen it. People are,
My wife asked me about it. She said, "What were y'all talking about?" So
What were y'all talking about?
yeah, so I don't know exactly. We talk so much and have so many conversations, and I'm very animated, not touching her. It's just kind of how I talk. But first of all, to make it clear, Arthur is very supportive. He's very number one for. He was very supportive going through free agency in regards to Kirk Cousins and the investment we made there, and he's very excited about Kirk. He's very excited about Michael Penix and doing that. We obviously talk about everything, and he's very, very excited about that, and we're fully aligned, and he's fully supportive. I assume that conversation was, like I said, when we, as soon as we made that pick, because we had already talked about it, whoever we pick, we were going to try to get another player in the first round, whoever we picked at 8. And so as soon as we made that pick, we were going through, and we were talking to every team. There's certain things that we're going to give up at certain spots, and so I was probably telling them, if we're here, we think we can get to here and get this particular player, we're going to have to give up a future one in this for that. And if we get to this spot, it's a different category of players. Now we can get it done for this. And so I was probably talking to them about those particular things. That's what I would assume. But we have so many conversations. But he's been very supportive and very excited about everything. Yeah, my wife asked me when I got home, she said, "What were you and Arthur talking about? What was going on?" And I said, "We talk a lot, but he's been great."
Terry talks a lot, guys.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I talk a lot.
He
I
is
talk with my hands.
He's an information giver, and he lays it out for you no matter what we're doing. He's a big playing guy.
I liked your description of being on the field and hearing Michael's passes go over your head. I know in baseball, for instance, there's a lot of talk about sometimes the ball sounds different coming off the bat of certain hitters when you're on the field, when you're in a practice setting or whatever. Some quarterbacks' passes sound different.
Yeah, they do, and he's it's a remarkable arm talent when you watch him throw the football or you hear it. And when you stand out there playing linebackers, it's intimidating. The only thing I can really compare it to was letting Julio Jones run us what we would call us lightning right now, when he runs to you full speed and you know he's going to stop and you're still not really sure. And then he stops all of a sudden at a drop of a dime and you're still standing there saying, man, I'm glad he stopped or he ran through me. But you kind of felt that way when he was throwing the ball and he was throwing it and he was landing over there out in Washington, and that was impressive to watch. It was an impressive day. It was an impressive outing by him to hear the ball come off his hand, to hear it go over your head, just to watch him throw the football. It was a good day for all of us to go out there in that workout, and I thought it was a pretty impressive feat.
And I assume it's about spin as much as about velocity.
I can't really tell you what that sound was because you're not going to be around it as
yeah. I was about to say it, Charles, though. It's true. Like, that's why you want to see things in person, too, because you see film, but the RPMs, when you're in person, you can really the way it pops off, because you see it on tape, you see those things, but I know exactly what you're talking about. There's things that, like, I have a good friend that is a baseball scout, and he talks about the difference in seeing something in person, hearing it, and it's just a completely different feel. It's like that with throwers. I mean, it's like that with all athletes. That's why you want to see guys in person.
Sure.
The way when you really feel them take off and you feel their power, you feel those things. So throwing the ball, the way that thing pops off his hand and the velocity and the RPM, all those things, Charles, you're right. Seeing it in person does make a difference. It does.
Terry, how would you describe? Well, also, I would think is it fair to say that you want like an impact starter in the second round? And to that end, how would you assess, your second runners so far, Richie, Arnold, Troy, and Matthew Bergeron?
Yeah, Richie, Arnold, Troy, Matthew Bergeron, and Arnold Ebiketie, right? So if you go back, you'd say obviously Bergeron started every game last year, and I truly believe that if he continues to move forward, then you're going to have the best guard combination in the league with him and Chris. We have a lot of confidence in those guys and his tools and his ability and things he did last year, and we know he's going to take a step and continue to improve fundamentals. And this is a big athletic man, so we're very excited about him. You go back a year with AK, and AK really came on as a rusher, and obviously he has places to grow, but we believe that he's going to take another step this year and continue to grow. You take a step back, and the next one is Troy, unfortunate injury. Early on, the thing that you like about when you take a guy, whether you're talking about Richie Grant or Troy, when you take certain positions and you say, okay, they're going to develop at linebacker or safety, but you know that they can make an impact in the kicking game while they're developing. And so you would say with both those players right away, there was impacts in the kicking game with Troy and Richie. And then with Troy, he's really coming on. He's showing a lot of flashes at linebacker, just a big athletic man that obviously raw talent that has areas to grow in, but then unfortunate injury. And we're really excited, but we know that he's going to be the way he runs, the power. He's going to be an impactful player for us. And then Richie, he was more special teams early on. Then we started doing some more things where Richie excelled more, was playing near the line of scrimmage, doing some of those different things, pressuring, and he's got to improve some things in coverage and some other areas of his game. But we truly believe that he's going to do that with Raheem and with our secondary coach. You're a good coach, man.
I was just laughing because I'm laughing that we're talking about our second-round picks. And as a coach, you just want them to be starters, right? And I believe everybody you've mentioned has had a moment of starting or time of starting or season of starting. And, I just coming here from the outside in, looking at great of a job he's done, not just in the second round, but just in all the things that you guys have put together and the pieces you've been able to bring into Atlanta, especially taking a 3-year hiatus and getting away and coming back and having a whole new outfit and really Bergeron is a really good football player. And watching him play last year as a rookie, that is a tough thing to do. It is tough to go from college to play in the interior line or either side of the ball and to be ready and to be mature and developed enough to do those things. So that is a high-quality pick. And then you're talking about AK playing on the edge. Still talking about playing up front. He's got a significant amount of starts under his belt and playing heavy and playing with some nice hands and doing stuff like that. That's really exciting. And usually the easier transitions go from wide out and it goes from the secondary and things of that nature. And Richie has really stepped up. My evaluation, I told Richie when I got here, was wrong on him. I didn't think he was as good a player as he is. And he's played really well and done some good things for you guys and tackled strong and done some good things. I was at another place, obviously, when I evaluated him. But he's shown me a lot of really good things on tape. And who's your other pick we're talking about here?
You hit them all. Troy?
Troy, obviously, like he's mentioned, had the injury, so I hadn't had as much tape. But you could feel the speed, kind of like we were just talking about throwing the ball in person. And I'm really fired up. Birthday boy last week, and I'm really fired up to get him going and see what we can really do moving forward. But I've been impressed with those picks. I don't know.
Yeah, you're really
from the outside looking in. Now I'm in here.
Common thread in all those guys is we believe that character sets the ceiling and the floor, and no different than our second-round pick today. You talk about a high-character guy. So when you see a skill set that he has, big, powerful, length, athleticism, that whole skill set, and then he's a high-character guy. And so you believe that because it's an imperfect game, there's going to be some ups and downs, but when you have a guy that has high character and has talent, then we believe in the right environment, they're going to grow and get the most of their ability. So I would say the common thread in those guys at different levels of their career, they're high character guys. So we know we're going to get the most of their ability.
Anything else?
Terry, on Tuesday you expressed appreciation for the NFL being communicative.
Yes, sir.
Communicative with you about the whole tampering thing. And
yes, sir.
I'm wondering, as you go through this draft and you go through trade talks, do you feel like you know enough about what's going to come in the future that is does that at all impact decisions you make, for instance, on giving that third-round pick?
No, again, not something we can really talk about, but all we're focused on is the draft and not thinking about anything else. And we know we get out of the draft, and whatever that point is with the league, then they'll obviously let us know what we need to do. We'll cooperate and go through that process. But our focus now is just on the draft.
Yeah, just previewing tomorrow for us. You got 4, 5, and 3 6s, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then the rush for undrafted, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Actually 8th round. What's
Do
the
you want
plan
us to
for-
come and talk right when the draft ends before undrafted free agency, or want us to in the draft do undrafted free agency and then come?
Hey, man, Led don't make those decisions.
You want to trade all three of the
Well,
six
he's
rounds?
done.
And come talk right after during the 6th round.
Come after all the picks are gone.
We don't have any 7, so when we finish up,
Yeah, we worry about the undrafted, so.
we'll get the 6s done and we'll come in after that. How about
Led,
that?
what you got a date?
No, my
He's
people
got a party.
in
My people in town.
my people in Jamaica. I'm unsupervised.
You took vacation while you're busy, so
There's
you.
a wedding
Wow.
in Jamaica that family friend's daughter.
Well, congratulations.
And, I got left here I couldn't skip out on the draft.
Oh, you
Get
can't do that.
fined, like I did last year. Yeah, I'm here unsupervised.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Led.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, good day. We're excited about tomorrow. There's some good players on the board, and we'll keep adding.
All right, appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.